Welcome to Mornings with Patty. I'm reading from The Courage to Change, June 20th. Fear was a daily part of my experience in my life, and I learned certain ways to cope with it. I often catch myself reacting to my fears in the same way today, even though the circumstances have changed. For example, I often keep quiet when confronted instead of speaking my mind. This might be a legitimate response, except that I don't consciously make the choice. This is not responding, it's reacting, giving up my self-respect out of fear and out of habit. My best alternative is to admit that I have a problem, accept my reactions, and turn them over to my higher power. I've often heard that courage is fear that has said its prayers. I must recognize my fear, I must say those prayers, and I must have faith as I wait for healing. In the meantime, there are important ways in which I can help myself. The first step in learning to respond more effectively to others is to learn to respond more effectively to myself. I can learn to respond with love, caring, and respect for myself, even for those parts of me that experience fear, confusion, and anger. Today, I'll try to become more aware of alternatives that I haven't yet recognized. Years ago, Deepak Chopra came to speak at my church, and a woman was complaining about all these things that were going on in her life, and he responds with, "We all have choices." And what I have chosen to do in my life, and now after I'm reading this, I'm finding out that it isn't necessarily appropriate, is that I have a tendency to clam up. I freeze when somebody confronts me over something that I've done wrong or something that I've disappointed somebody with. And I want to explain to them what I did, but what I've done is just kept my mouth shut. And I really don't know how to respond to somebody when I'm confronted, because typically there's a reaction and then I don't know how to respond to that. So I'm stuck in this loop. I don't know about you, but some of you will just go ahead and say whatever the fuck is on your mind, and it's not really pleasant to hear. When I'm confronted, typically it's somebody's in a rage, and it is difficult to deal with somebody like that. I know, because I've been that person too. So what this is saying is I have to learn to respond to me more effectively. So what are my thoughts? I have to pay attention to my thoughts. So when I first got into a particular 12-step program called Adult Children of Alcoholics and Dysfunctional Families, which I get the prize for being in one of those families, that I realized that I beat myself up mercilessly. I didn't even know. It was so unconscious. God, why did you fucking say that? Why did you always saying stupid shit? Da, da, da. And then I heard this guy say, I participate in my own brutality. So if you think about it, if I'm participating in my own brutality, in my own self-abuse, I don't know how to respond. I'm always in a state of fear. So when I recognize that, I realize I could have an inner parent or have more compassion for myself. So I do what Louise Hay says. Stop criticizing yourself. And I just keep doing that. Stop criticizing myself and give myself compassion and love. That parts of me that does get confused, and say things like, dang, I'm so sorry that happened to you. Or, you've got this, we can get through this together. And as I learn to have more compassion with myself and give myself distance from my fears, then my life becomes much more manageable. One of the words that they used in this reading was healing, waiting for my healing. And the root word for healing in an old German language is wholeness. And when I feel whole, when I feel at one, after my prayer and meditation, after I'm talking with you, and I feel so good about myself, and there's distance between me and my crazy bullshit in my mind, I am more effective, and I have more distance, and I can see things in a more distant perspective, in a more realistic perspective, and a non-reactionary one. So if I can take care of my self-talk, and I become aware of when my fear comes up, and I have a moment to just love that part of myself, to give myself compassion. By doing this over and over, I will be having more self-respect. I will be having more self-confidence. I will feel more secure in myself, and I will be able to handle easily whatever comes in front of me and into my awareness and into my life. If you like this, follow me. I love you.